Well, welcome to a special session on council budgeting tools in PeopleSoft. Today we're going to cover the process of uploading your budget, preparing it, uploading it, and getting it ready for the next year. This opening screen just shows you the tool we'll be using, which is a spreadsheet journal import process. It's a macro-filled Excel program that is designed to create the file that then gets uploaded and loaded into PeopleSoft. It's a handy tool that can also be used for non-budget journals. For councils, you may have reoccurring journals that you want to load on a monthly basis and edit, and we'll kind of look at that too. As always, we will ask for questions at the end, so please save those. So there's tools that are available for your council to use to do the budget work. And on the council fiscal management page in scouting.org, there's a tab under the PeopleSoft documents called Budget Tools. And within the Budget Tools, there's several files that you're going to want to look at. First of all, the top one is the PeopleSoft Budget Upload Spreadsheet. This is an Excel sheet that's designed to lay out to take your 12-month budget and then spread it across January, February, March, etc. It lays the material out so you can then cut and paste it into the budget upload tool that we looked at just a second ago. The budget upload tool zip file, which we'll look at in a little bit, contains 3 files that need to stay together. And one of those is the files you use to actually upload the file into PeopleSoft. And then the last document I'd draw your attention to is the instruction booklet that covers all of this, and it's the budget upload flat file instructions. So when you click on that zip file, these are the 3 Excel files that you want to get. So you click on that back on this page, click on that budget upload tool zip, and you're going to get these 3 files. That top file, that journal1_LC, is the actual tool that we'll use to have the journals uploaded. The other 2 files have to remain in the same folder to make that macro work correctly. And then what we recommend is you create a new folder, place it where you can find it, maybe on your desktop. In this case, this one's called the Council Budget 2019, and we put those 3 macro Excel files in, and then also the journal upload and budget upload gathering sheet. This just puts it all together. The other thing that we recommend is that you get fresh files each year. If you've done this 3 or 4 years, we'd recommend you just go out and get a fresh set and download them for your use. You can see I download these on August 26th, so they have not been previously used for journal uploads. Just seems to take away one layer of where there could be errors. So this is a copy of the front page of the flat file upload instructions. And again, I'd recommend you download this if you are new to the process or do not do it on a monthly basis, so it's fresh for you to review. But this video will cover all of that material also. One of the queries that we recommend you review is the LC budget spreadsheet. This is a query that allows you to go out and grab what is loaded currently for a specific year within your general ledger. So in this example, this is the 2019 budget by month, as you can see, by line for the business. And as always, you open that file, and then what I like to do to work with this is I strip off that top line that all that has is the name of the query and how many lines there is. And then this then allows you to see the whole budget for your council right now. This is a good tool to use along with the similar query that's actuals to help you figure out how much goes in January, how much goes in February, how much goes in March. Keep in mind that one of the budgeting recommendations we have is for deferred activities and camps and special events, we recommend you only budget into the month that it comes off of the deferral. So if you have a camp that runs June, July, then maybe that budget is for August. And so it comes off a deferral in August, and then that's where the budget numbers hit also. So we're going to look at this budget as if this was your working document for a minute. And I want to point out one of the keys to making sure your budget upload works correctly. The fund, the account, the project code, and the class code, all of these need to be correct, but they also all need to be formatted in a text format. So when you're working in your budget gathering and putting things together, before you start cutting and pasting into the worksheet or the upload sheet, you're going to want to make sure that those first 4 columns are all formatted to text. One of the reasons to do this is if you have a 000 project code or a leading 0, like a project code 021, that leading 0 will disappear, and then everything will error out if you do not change this to a text format. So this is the budget upload gathering spreadsheet, and it'll open up to this setup page. And the important thing to do in this setup page is to make sure your council business unit is placed into that upper cell. The currency value is going to default to the USD, but you need to put your council business unit, including the L or the M, depending on your business, in there, because that then populates the macros in the other sheets. So now we've moved over to the budget master, and this is going to be the kind of the final step in preparing to get your budget uploaded before you start using the upload journal worksheet. As you can see, your business unit is already populated. The ledger name, in this case we're loading budget, is already populated. And then we're going to paste that fund, account, project, class, and then the total for each month. So that if this extended over, you'd see January through December. Please notice there's no description columns. You're not putting your business unit in because we want to get this ledger in the right spot. So we've stripped that out. So all you have is fund, account, project, class, and then the balance for that line for January, February, March, et cetera, et cetera. A couple things to keep in mind. You do not have to put zeros in. So let's say you have a budget item that's only in the month of February. There's a value there, and then that you don't need to fill the rest of that line with zeros. When you do some cutting and pasting, sometimes those zeros get placed there, and that's okay. You do not have to take them out, but you don't have to put them in. The other thing to keep in mind is all your revenue accounts are going to be negative numbers, and all of your expense counts are going to be positive numbers. That's the way it works with the debits and credits as far as this journal to get the budget to actually report correctly in the statements. So here's an example. We've cut and pasted, and you can see, first of all, the fund, account, project, and class, and then whether there's a value in there or not. And then these are revenue accounts, so you can see these are the negative numbers. And then this account that's hidden here is the allowance for uncollectibles, so that's not a negative number for revenue. So that comes across as a positive number. The other thing to keep in mind is you're going to want to use the values option for pasting instead of some of the other ones. You're going to have to play with this if you are using formulas in your worksheet such as maybe you've created a formula that's taken some other column and January is populated by 1/12 of that other column. You don't want this number to come over as the formula, you need it to come over as the value. So we recommend that you paste the value. That also continues to allow these code numbers, especially the project and class code numbers, to come over in the text format. So we're still in the budget upload gathering spreadsheet. So here you can see one of the particular months in there. So again, what we've done is we've pasted this into the master sheet. I'm going to go back here, the budget master sheet. So this is what it looks like populated there. And then this is one of the months, and this is all ready to cut and paste all the information you need. Let's say this is January, so you have the columns you need for the journal upload and in the right format. And if you notice, it's switched. So you pasted it in our regular account chain order, fund, account, project, class, but then over on the January, February, March, April pay sheets, you can see that the order is switched to match the order that's required for the budget upload. So in this case, you have the council number, you have the journal name, then you have the account, then you have the class, then you have the fund, then you have the class code, and then you have the project code. And last but not least, you have what kind of currency it is, and then your data. Now you can see here is where those zeros got populated, even though they weren't back in the original column. And that's okay. What I want you to realize is you don't have to go through and put zeros in all these cells, but it may do it, and that's all right. So now we're going to move on to the actual spreadsheet journal import. And as I said, we had created this folder, and this is the macro that you're going to want to open up, the JRNL1_LC. And this is the screen you're going to see that opens up to start with. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the Setup tab, and you're going to change your business unit, and you're going to change your date. There's a default business unit in here that's inactive council, and then the date, I think, is 2017, so you're going to want to adjust these two cells, nothing else, just these two cells, and this is going to create the header that'll push it to budget and push it to the GL when we actually get to the point of uploading it. Once you've changed your business unit and date, you're going to click OK. The next is you're going to go to the next set of boxes, which is the journal sheet, and you're going to click New, because we're going to create a new journal sheet. And in this case, we're going to call that journal sheet January 2020 Budget Upload, and then we're going to click. And that opens this spreadsheet journal import page. And if you've done this before, you're familiar with this look. We create a journal header first. So we're going to click on that plus button. That's going to open up a screen that allows us to create the journal header. You want to verify your unit number. You want to verify the journal date. In this case, we're doing January of 2020 budget. And then we give it a description so it's unique. And then we're going to click OK. Now, this is one of the areas that some councils struggle with, because one of the tricks of the journal upload is there has to be the right number of lines, not too many, not too few. So you have to click the plus, and then you click the plus ... and this box appears. So the plus button gets you the first line, and then this plus ... gives you the option of telling us how many more lines to put in. So in this example, the total budget lines is 25. So I got 1 and then 24, and that's going to get me to my 25. So I click Insert, and then it's populated my 25 lines, which is going to prepare this January 2020 budget upload specifically for the pages that I'm going to upload. So now we're going to go back to that worksheet, and this is, if you remember, this was that January column that rearranged the account lines into the proper order. So everything is formatted correctly here. You can tell that because you got your 000s and you got your 00 class code, you got your council number, the right journal, and then the last piece here that we haven't talked about is just a note that's going to go in for each line that says this was a budget load. So just like the instructions at the top say, you're going to start up here in A2, and you're going to hold down and highlight all the way down to the last line of your budget. So in this case, there's just these 25 lines that we're loading today as an example. So you just highlight that area and click copy. And then you're going to come over to this cell that's that line 1 under unit, and you're going to click on that, and then you're going to hit that paste values option. And that's going to populate just what you clicked over into this journal import. So we've moved the data from the worksheet over to the journal import. So in this example, this is January 2020. It's all set. So the next step is up at the top. We're going to hit the little house, which is going to take us back to our home page or original screen in this macro-filled Excel sheet. So you recognize we're back here, and we're going to click on the right file option. So we click on that, and then this box pops up, and it wants to have us make sure we know where we're going to write the file to. You have to select the sheet. So when you do more of these, you're going to find you're going to have a list of different sheets here. And so you want to select the one you want, and that's the name you gave. That's off that journal header. That's the name you gave it. So we're going to click on that, and that highlights it in the blue. And then down below here, it's going to tell you where this file is going to go. So in this case, it's going to go into my documents. So, and then I don't think we have the whole name here. So we can't see, but you can scroll down along here, and you'll see that the name of what the name of the file is going to be. And that is a generic name every time you do this. This selected sheet name does not end up in there. So if you're going to do multiple uploads, which I recommend you do, then that name is going to have to be edited. And we'll look at that when we do the demo. So you're going to click on OK once you've highlighted and selected the sheet you want. And then here's my documents file, and this is the name of the document that it came over as. And that's that generic name you're going to get unless you edit and add, like in our demonstration later, I'll add the JAN, so I know it's the January upload. So that just verifies that it's there. And I always like to see if there's any data there. So the size tells me that there is data. So again, this is a very small sample, only 10K of data. But what happens is if you do not highlight and select this select sheet and you still click OK, it'll send a file, but there'll be 0 data there. So we've now exported and created our flat file. This is the name of it. So the next step is we're going to have to move over to PeopleSoft. So a couple things that need to be done before you upload that file is you're going to want to go to your open period update, and you're going to want to update your budget ledger to make sure the period's open till the end of next year. So here we're logging in. We're going to the general ledger, open period update. We're going to enter in the budget ledger name. Instead of actual, it's budget this time. And then we're going to just update the year. Odds are this will say 2019, and then you just need to change it to 2020 and hit save. So then you've opened the ledger for the budgets for the year, so it won't error out when we upload these. So under the BSA folder, in the main menu, the BSA folder, Local Council Updates, is a Local Council Budget Upload tool. And if this is very similar to the Cellwise journal upload that you use every day. So you're going to need to add, if you already have a journal there that you've uploaded, you need to click that delete box first, and then you click on add, and then you have to browse, and then you know to go over to your documents folder, because that's where this journal went to, and you select that journal, and then you click upload. So now we're ready. We have the journal we want to upload. So we just click save and hit run, and we're going to run the process, and it's going to do the journal upload. And then we want to go out to the general ledger, journals, journal entry, create, update journal entries, and find this journal. So how do you find this journal easily? Odds are it's the only journal that's going to have a January of 2020 date in this case. So you just do a journal search for a general journal for the date of 1/1/2020, or you can do a date range when we get into additional months. So this shows that this journal now is over here. It has a journal date of 1/1/2020, which is what you want, and it's in the budget ledgers. So you click on the line option here to post it, and it reminds you that it needs to be edited and posted first. So you're going to run those processes, and you can see again all 25 lines came over, even though the vast majority of the lines only have nothing in them, don't have any data. That's okay. We recommend you just move every line of every budget over, and that just keeps everything clean, and the system can handle that. So you hit process, and you're going to go ahead and post that. So we're going to now do a demonstration. So I'm going to log into PeopleSoft. I'm in the training environment, so I'm not changing anybody's data. But I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And I want to go to the open period update first. So I'm going to be doing a different business unit today. Oops. Sorry. General ledger, and then the business unit. And we're going to do budgets. So we'll click budget. So we're going to see where we're at with opening the period. We're going to come up here and change this to 2020. Don't worry about that default. So we're now open to 2020. This is a different look than you see because I'm in the training environment with my roles, so it is a little different. All right, so next we're going to come out to that Scout Finance Impact, and then Financial Services. We're going to click on the Financial Management. That brings us to the PeopleSoft Documents page, and we're going to go to the Budget Tools, and we're going to download that PeopleSoft Budget Upload Spreadsheet. So we're going to open that. Again, we recommend you get a fresh set each time you do your budget. We're going to enable it. And we're going to put our business unit in here. And we're going to save this to the desktop. And I've created a 2000 or a council budget because I have my sample budget in there. So I already have a folder on my desktop where I'm going to keep all of my 2020 budget stuff. So we're going to just minimize that for a minute. Now we're going to download that zip file, and that one we need to save because it's a zip file. So we're going to need to go find that. I think it goes to my download folder. Yep, there it is. So this is the folder with those 3 files in it. I'm going to select those, sorry. I'm going to copy. Then I'm going to bring those over to my budget folder that I have on my desktop. So those are there. I have my budget that I've already worked out, and I got my worksheet. So I'm going to open up my budget. So this is the budget that I'm going to upload. This is my 2020 budget. I've been gathering data and getting it from all the different sources for months and months. I want to make sure that my funds, account, project, and class codes, excuse me, are all a text file so I don't lose any details. Where did that go? Oh, there we are. So I'm going to convert all those to text. So now I'm ready to cut and paste. We're going to come back to this document. So I've set my business unit, and then I'm going to only use this budget master sheet here. So this, now you can see my business unit and the budget is set here. I'm going to shrink this down a little just so we see more data. And now I'm going to cut and paste my budget into here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, some of you have this page is being fed by a whole bunch of tabs, and you got different formulas in here and such. And if that's the case, you're going to want to make sure that when you go to cut and paste this, that you're actually getting the values you want and not formulas. So that's just something to keep your eye on. One thing that I have done for councils is I've actually taken everything from their master document and then created a separate Excel sheet where I cut and paste it in, make sure everything's formatted correctly. So I've highlighted the whole budget, and then I've copied. And now I got to go back to my worksheet here, and I'm going to paste for values. And so now I've moved over everything I need for the budget upload. So let's just go look at January for a second, and you can see that things are formatted into the correct format. So when it comes time to upload a budget, everything is set. So we're going to go back to our folder here now, and we're going to open up that JRNL1_LC Excel sheet. And this is the one with the big macros in it. We need to enable that. And the first thing we're going to do is collect the setup. And we want to make sure that we have our council business number in there with the letter. And then we want to get the right date for the budget. So we have the business unit, the date. We can verify it's a budget, and it's going to go to the general ledger. So next, we're going to open a new sheet, and we're going to call this the January 2020 test. And that's going to then open up the spreadsheet journal import. So we got to create the header, so we click that plus button, and you can see that this information is populated correctly. And we're going to give it a name because later on we're going to need to be able to track what months these are in addition to the dates. So the journal name is now January 2020 test. Now I need to go back to my upload and determine how many rows I have here. I didn't count ahead of time. Oops. So we have 223 rows. So now we're going to come back and we're going to go back to our journal import, and we're going to create the 223 rows. So first you click that plus and get your first line, and then you click the plus ... and you're going to get the rest of them. So I got to add 222. Excuse me. I always like to click on the button I'm coming back to for cutting and pasting. So now I have the lines that I need. So now I'm going to go back to my journal upload. This is January. I'm down in January. I'm going to highlight all of these, and from the your council business number over to the budget load. I'm going to copy. Now I got to go back over to my journal import, and I'm going to do a values paste. So eyeballing this now, we can see we have the unit, we have the ledger, we have accounts, funds, class, project, currency, amount, and description. That all matches the data we brought over. My revenues are negative numbers, so that all works. And then I always like to just go down and make sure my math was right, and I don't have any extra lines or missing lines. So January is all set. So we're going to come here and we're going to click on the little house, take us back to the home page, and we're going to go to the file. We're going to select that, and here you can see that I'm going to edit this. Oops. So I've just added the January 2020 to the name of the file. The important thing is I eyeball where it's going. It's going to documents, and the select sheet is selected, so we just hit OK. And we got to go to the documents folder, and you can see I got some data here. The January name is there. It's got 81 kilobits. So now we're going to go back to PeopleSoft. We're going to open a new window. We're going to go to our BSA folder, our local council updates, and we're going to go to the LC budget upload. If you've never run this before, you got to add a new run control. I like to just use the name of the page. Now I have this file that I uploaded previously, so I need to delete it. It's gone, so now I'm going to hit add, and we're going to browse, and we're going to go out to my documents folder, and we're going to select that January 2020. We're going to hit open. Now we're going to upload, and it will appear here. As soon as it's there, then we're going to hit save, and we're going to run the process. And this is the spreadsheet journal import process. Open our project monitor, the process monitor, see where we're at. So what we're doing is we're taking that flat file, just like a Cellwise file, and we're uploading it. That will give you the journals that then need to be posted if there's no errors. So it should be done in a minute. We're going to come over and go to our general ledger, journals, journal entry, create and update journal entries. We're going to find an existing journal. So I'm going to put in the business. I'm going to put in the journal date. The reason I'm putting this range in is, if all goes well, while I'm here, I'm just going to upload my whole budget. Oops, it's going to want a month and a date. All right, so I got those dates, and I'm going to put a source in here, journal. So here is, you can see this is the budget, and here's the date, the 1/1/20. So we'll open this up. Can remind you I'm in the training environment and it runs a lot slower than production. So there's that message just telling me that it needs to be processed. Here's where you can see that journal name I gave it comes over. And that description name comes over. So here's my 223 line. Sorry, this is a different budget. So we're going to run that edit process to verify that everything is okay. See if there's any error messages. There shouldn't be, but some of the likely sources are going to include the project code not being active. If you don't open the period like we did, you get an error for every line. But let's say this project code 62 we hadn't used before, it'll error out because it doesn't recognize it. If there's any typos, one of the things we find when you're cutting and pasting from worksheets is maybe somebody typed this account number in and it became 4733 or something like that. And if that's not a valid account, then it's going to error out. So I'm valid, so then you just switch this to post, and you're going to post this journal. So because it's valid, and this is the reason I do multiple journals, I now know that every account, every project code, every class is a valid, active in my console from uploading January, because this is kind of the ultimate test. There's no error messages. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the rest of the months. So now I'm back at my spreadsheet and I'm going to create a new journal. My setup, here, let me go back. My setup hasn't changed, so we leave that. But now I'm going to create a new journal sheet, and I'm going to call it February to December 2020. We're not going to do all those months, but I just want to show you how you do multiple months. So now I'm going to do February is the first month I'm going to do, because I've already posted January. So I have to change that date. So now the date's 2/1/2020, and I'm going to call this journal head February. So now I've started a new journal. I already know that I need 223 lines. So I don't have to spend any time double checking that. I come over here, I go to February. I'm going to highlight all of February. Oops. I'm going to copy. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to paste special. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create another journal. And it's going to be March. Give it a March description. So now this header, now don't worry about the fact this date is here, because you're just going to add more lines and they're down here. So if you're noticing, that first journal I loaded with this import had a system ID of 1077. Now February's got 1078. Now March it's got the 1079. So that's how this is able to keep track of these multiple journals. So now I got March. I just come out here and grab it. And again, you know all this data is right. Everything posted, everything's clean. So you come back here, paste value, and you're going to come up here. We're only going to do one more month here as a sample. But I hope you're getting the idea that even if your budget's, 2,500 lines, something like that, it's still pretty quick. So we've created the April journal heading. We made sure the date, I changed the date. Otherwise, these will just post on top of the other date. Oops, don't want to do that. So now we're going to add my lines again. Scroll down and find those empty lines. It's a lot easier when you only got a couple hundred lines, but still not a big deal. So we're going to grab April. Copy. Come back. We're going to paste. Now you could just keep going for all the months. The trick is you got to change that date and give it a new name. Now we're going to assume we're done just for time's sake. So I have multiple months here. I'm going to come out here. Now I go to that right file. See, now I have multiple sheets. I want to select the one that I just did, which is called February to December. And I'm going to give that file a different name just so I can find it. So now it's created that file. We're just going to go out to Documents here, and you can see how it's 3 times the size of the January file because I have extra months. Excuse me. So let's go back to LC Budget Upload. We're going to delete the January. We're going to click Add. We're going to go Browse, and we're going to find that February to December file. We're going to click Open and then Upload, and then it will appear here. I'm going to click Save. And we're going to run, and this will take a minute or so, but we're going to process this journal upload here. So what we recommend best practice is load January, make sure there's no errors, everything posts. And then load the next 11 months in another journal. Even the biggest councils I've ever helped, it may only take 20 minutes or so to load all of those journals into the journal upload and create that flat file. Don't worry about size. It'll get big if you have a lot of data. The trick is to make sure you keep changing the dates. So you get a file and you get a journal for February, March, April, May, June. So you got to eyeball that up there when you create the header. The header tells you what date you're doing. So these are posted, so now we're going to go back to our journals and find that. Let me enter this again. Journal date. Source code, search, and here you can see I have a journal for February, March, and April. And in the same process, I won't post them all, but we go through. I feel confident that that's going to work, so I don't even run the edit process, and I just post. So there you can see within about 15 minutes of cutting and pasting, once everything is set up, you can create the journals that are needed and then post them. So this is February, and again, this process takes a little bit, but I'm going to go show you that. Just to show you that query. So we're going to find the, I have a lot of queries. Find the budget spreadsheet. And you can see in the budget for 2020, right now, I have January and February posted. So those are the only two I've posted. So that's a kind of a quick review of how to do a budget upload. Again, I want to point out the tools that are available, the budget upload flat file instruction. Let me open that real quick for you. It covers all of these steps, and also, obviously, this recording is available, and the slideshow for this recording is available if need be. But you can see all the steps to go through that we went through are highlighted in this help. So I hope this was helpful for you today, and as always, don't hesitate to call member care if you have any questions.